Warm welcome to the 8th episode of the SkillsBridge Masterclass series. This series is making great strides. We have received enthusiastic responses from around the world. More and more participants are joining new episodes. During the last episode, many participants couldn't participate due to the platform's limitation, and we apologize for the inconvenience to them. To accommodate more attendees, we have increased the capacity and also live streaming on YouTube. The last episode received an excellent rating of 4.8 out of 5 from attendees. Your feedback inspires us to continuously improve, striving to bring you the best practices and speakers from across the globe. We hope you will enjoy this episode too. Today's masterclass is also special. It focuses on the most contemporary topic of this world today, digital transformation and artificial intelligence in skills development, systems, and programs. And we have ministers from Africa, South Asia, Central Asia, and South Caucasus, a good example of South-South and triangular cooperation. You will also be glad to know more than 3,500 participants from 125 countries have registered for this masterclass. A big thank you to all of you for joining us today. I am Ashwani Agrawal, Work Group Leader for Skills Policy and Digitalization at the ILO headquarters in Geneva. And it is my pleasure to moderate today's masterclass. To ensure a smooth event, I would like to mention a few points for participants. Please note that this session is being recorded. The recording will be available on the website of the event. Using question and answer button tab at the bottom of your screen, you may kindly submit your questions anytime during this webinar. Please also mention the name of the panelist to whom the question is addressed. As common for the webinar format, participants' mic and videos have been disabled. However, you may kindly use the chat function to share any example of innovative or good practices or reports from your countries. After the event, we will circulate all presentations and resource materials to all the participants. With this, I'd like to invite Mr. Ravi Paris, Officer in Charge, ILO Decent Work Team for South Asia and Country Office for India, to deliver the welcome remarks. The floor is yours, Ravi.
Thank you, Dr. Agrawal. Mr. Jan Chowdhury, Honorable Minister of State for Ministry of Skills Development and Entrepreneurship, Government of India. Dr. Hajar Ramutali Wuri, Honorable Minister of Technical and Higher Education, Government of Sierra Leone. Mr. Ruben Sarsagian, Honorable Deputy Minister of Labour and Social Affairs, Government of Armenia. Mr. Atul Kumar Tiwari, Secretary, Ministry of Skills Development and Entrepreneurship, Government of India. Mr. Vedmani Tiwari, Chief Executive Officer of NSDC. Madam Debjani Ghosh, President, NASSCOM. Madam Shesta Gupta, CTO, NSDC. Dr. Bohin Shakruan, Director, Policies and Lifelong Learning Systems Division, UNESCO. Madam Shabnab Singha, Lead Education Specialist, World Bank. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great privilege for me to welcome you all today on behalf of the ILO for the 8th episode of the SkillsBridge Masterclass series. ILO has organized this webinar series in partnership with World Bank, UNESCO, and UNSDC. In order to achieve success in skills development, we cannot emphasize more on the importance of a collaborative approach. Governments, employers and workers' organizations, development partners, and other stakeholders must work together to improve access to all individual to market relevant training that also matches their aspirations and lead to qualifications that have currency on the labor market, as well as further education and training pathways. The ILO is committed to engage proactively in this sphere. ILO adopted its new skills and lifelong learning strategy 2030 last year. This strategy provides a robust roadmap for supporting countries in developing more effective and inclusive skill systems and programs. The core objective is to create resilient and inclusive skill systems that can adapt to today's challenges and provide everyone with opportunities to access high quality skills development and lifelong learning. Our focus rests on helping constituents establish comprehensive, coordinated, and inclusive lifelong learning policy frameworks with adequate governance and diversified financing, skills intelligence, and quality skills delivery systems that are accessible to everyone. I'm pleased to highlight that the SkillsBridge Masterclass series is becoming more and more popular. The last session was attended by more than 2,000 participants from over 90 countries. At today's session, we are excited to look at the examples of the use of digital technology for transforming skills of lifelong learning. It will cover examples from India, Armenia, and Sierra Leone. I'm truly grateful for the participation of honorable ministers from the three countries and other high-level dignitaries. Along with the all distinguished guests here today, we make another milestone to exemplify the importance of collaborative approach by sharing our challenges, opportunities, and exploring solutions based on our experiences and success stories. I believe today's session will lead us to create strong synergies, amplifying our collective ability to enable the transformation of skills development globally, going beyond our national and regional boundaries. On behalf of the ILO Country Office India, I thank you all for your participation and wish you all a very productive webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ravi, for highlighting the importance which ILO gives to the partnership and working in partnership, and also mentioning some of the key initiatives. Now, the highlight of today's event is the keynote address by Honorable Shri Jayant Chaudhary Ji. He is the Minister of State, Independent Charge for Skills Development and Entrepreneurship, as well as the Minister of State in the Education Department in the Government of India. He has made significant contributions to various parliamentary committees, including Commerce, Finance, Agriculture, and Ethics. And he has advanced discussions on land acquisition bill through a private member bill. His leadership focuses on integrating marginalized communities into national development initiatives. He emphasizes the transformative potential of skilled professionals as ambassadors of India. And also, he is the grandson of former Prime Minister Bharat Ratna Chaudhary Charan Singh Ji and is the national chairman of Rashtriya Lok Dal Party. He holds a master's degree in accounting and finance from the London School of Economics and Political Science. As a youth icon and the new minister, we are eager to listen to his vision for promoting education and training for all. We are honored to have Shri Jayant Chaudhary Ji with us. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Ashwini, for the generous introduction. Honorable Dr. Haja Ramatulai, Mr. Ruben Saraksian, who is the Honorable Deputy Minister of Labour and Social Affairs from Armenia. Dr. Haja is the Honorable Minister of Technical and Higher Education from Sierra Leone. He's joining us here today. Shri Atul Kumar Tiwari ji, who's the Dynamic Secretary of our Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. Shri Ravi Paris from the ILO. Dr. Boren Chakron, Director of Policies and Lifelong Learning from UNESCO. Ms. Devjani Ghosh, who's the president of NASSCOM, Ms. Shabnam Sinha ji, lead education specialist with the World Bank, Dr. Ashwini Agarwal ji, who's the work group leader with the ILO, Geneva, Mr. Vedmani Tiwari ji, who's the CEO of the NSDC, the National Skill Development Corporation, Ms. Shrestha Gupta ji, who's the CTO of NSDC and NSDC International. Namaskar. It's an honor to address this esteemed gathering today. And we stand at the cusp of a new era. We find ourselves in the midst of a revolution that is reshaping the very fabric of work and learning. And I believe the future of work is like a river, ever flowing, changing its course, demanding that we too adapt and evolve. It is in this dynamic landscape that the concept of lifelong learning emerges as our compass, guiding us through the currents of change. The discussions at the G20 summit under India's presidency also underscored the imperative need for a robust framework that fosters lifelong learning. Our global leaders have recognized that the future of learning is not confined to the early years of education, but extends throughout one's life, embracing the concept of learning as a lifelong journey. India, as you know, with its rich tapestry of traditions and innovations, stands poised to lead this transformative journey. Our ancient scriptures in India always emphasize the importance of knowledge and continuous adaptation and relearning and learning. As a famous sage aptly said, education is the manifestation of the perfection already in man or woman. This timeless wisdom resonates more than ever in today's world, where the rapid pace of technological advancement requires us to constantly upgrade our skills. The National Education Policy, NEP 2020, further underscores our commitment to lifelong learning by promoting flexible learning pathways and integrating skill development at all levels of education. This policy aims to equip our youth with the skills necessary for the jobs of the future, promoting an environment of continuous growth and innovation. We are perhaps in the world today witnessing the dawn of the fourth industrial revolution. With artificial intelligence, machine learning, automation, they're redefining entire sectors and industries. And it is in this scenario that the skill ecosystem, the skills that we are acquiring today, our education systems and protocols need to really reinvent themselves. Otherwise, we may well be obsolete tomorrow. Therefore, embracing the concept of lifelong learning as a principle, it is an imperative, not just a necessity. Aligned with this vision, the Government of India is committed to creating an ecosystem that promotes lifelong learning. And at the heart of this transformation is SIDH, which is a Skill India Digital Hub. This is a leading example of how digital public infrastructure can revolutionize learning and skill development. And SIDH is more than just a platform. It is a trusted and transparent ecosystem that converges diverse elements of our vast skilling landscape. The platform ensures that every individual, whether he's in a city or a remote village, they have access to quality learning resources, and it harnesses the power of technology to bridge the gap between aspiration and opportunity. Any DPI today, as you know, it's crucial for fostering economic growth, enhancing inclusivity, and improving the delivery of public services, especially to the last mile. In our pursuit of transforming India into a digitally empowered society, we have harnessed the power of innovation through the creation of India Stack. This groundbreaking set of APIs enables governments, businesses, startups, developers, and all stakeholders to leverage a unique digital infrastructure. By embracing India Stack, we are addressing some of our nation's most challenging issues, moving towards a presence-less, paperless, and cashless service delivery model. This enhances efficiency and transparency and paves the way for a more inclusive and accessible digital future for all citizens. Turning to digital learning, it is a cornerstone of modern education and skill development. The demand for digital learning is evident from the increasing enrollment in online courses and the proliferation of e-learning platforms. The unfortunate COVID-19 pandemic also created certain opportunities in this space because it accelerated the adoption of digital learning platforms, highlighting their potential to make education accessible for all. India's other DPI initiatives, such as Aadhaar for digital identity, the BharatNet project for enhancing rural broadband connectivity, they provide a strong foundation for expanding digital learning. And by integrating these with SIDH, we can ensure that every citizen has access to high quality education and training, regardless of where they are, regardless of their geographical location. As we move forward, it is imperative that we embrace the opportunities presented by digital learning and AI, artificial intelligence. The AI-powered Skill India Digital Hub is indeed a testament to our commitment to building a future-ready workforce. By fostering a culture of lifelong learning and leveraging digital technologies, we can ensure that our workforce remains competitive in the global market. I would like to acknowledge the efforts of other nations, such as Armenia and Sierra Leone, which have made significant strides in embracing digital learning and lifelong learning frameworks. We are here to learn from such initiatives and programs today. Armenia's initiatives in tech education, Sierra Leone's focus on digital skilling serve as inspiration for us to follow and collaborate with as we aim to build a knowledge-based economy. Together, we can create an ecosystem that supports continuous learning, innovation, and growth. Let us build a global ecosystem where learning never stops, where every individual has the opportunity to grow and succeed, and where the spirit of innovation and excellence shines even brighter. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for the excellent keynote address highlighting the critical role of lifelong learning and digital technology as a guiding principle for the transformative changes in the future of work. You underscored India's commitment to lifelong learning through initiatives like the National Education Policy and the Skills India Digital Hub. These efforts leverage digital infrastructure to democratize access to skills development opportunities across India, ensuring inclusivity and fostering a digitally empowered society. Thank you once again for being with us and reflecting India's strategic vision for the future of work and education and training. Thank you once more for your participation. With this, we'll go to our next segment, and I request our next presenter, Mr. Vedmani Tiwari, CEO of NSDC, for presenting the Skills India Digital Hub. He is an accomplished leader with over 30 years of experience in the government and the private sector. As the CEO of NSDC, he champions technology skills development and partnerships. His passion for empowering youth through education and training makes him an inspiring figure in the field. The floor is yours, Mr. Tiwari.
Thank you so much, Ashwini ji, and very warm good morning, good afternoon, good evening to participants of this webinar from all over the world. We are presenting here today SIDH, as the Honorable Minister of Skill for India introduced Skill India Digital Hub. SIDH is a Hindi word which means proficient. So Skill India Digital Hub is a lifelong learning platform to get proficient. This platform caters to every section, all demographies, and that is why we call it lifelong learning platform. Somebody may be planning to exit early from education to participate in the workforce. Someone may be finishing education and wants to be job ready. Those who are in education also, whether you are in early education or you are in higher education, you can participate through SIDH to become proficient. And those who are in the workforce, they can also learn here. And those who have not been able to join either education, employment or training, they can also learn from SIDH. Typically, we find that whenever we talk about a digital platform, the idea is that there are some online courses which people can learn on their own. SIDH has been designed differently. It's a platform for collaboration among all the stakeholders of ecosystem and addresses all ecosystem players. We have issuers of qualifications, skill providers, learners, content providers, teachers, counselors, assessors. These are the stakeholders who are responsible for delivery of skilling programs. They all co-create value for a learner. Similarly, the users of the platform could be employers who are looking for proficient professionals, entrepreneurs, and marketplaces where there are needs for skilled and proficient professionals. The platform also provides opportunity for financing institutions like government, private sector, and other financing institutions to contribute to the platform through providing appropriate financing resources. So we can see that there are various stakeholders come together and they co-create value here. Any skill and education platform always has one question: are the qualifications trustworthy in the marketplace? The SIDH has been built on the platform of a trust, and the trust is not only in terms of names of the institution, but also provides opportunity to everyone to digitally verify credentials that are being claimed. Whether somebody is claiming an educational qualification, or there is an educational institution from where this person has studied, so both world of education and the party who has acquired educational qualification. Similarly, skilling world and any proof of skilling qualification which is responds to skills. Those who are from the world of employment or those who are seeking employment and are claiming their previous experiences also can have their credentials digitally verified. Even the proof of reputation, we all know that ratings in today's part-time gig markets, the users provide ratings to the service providers. These are proof of reputation, and typically these proof of reputations are retained by the service provider, but SIDH as a platform provides that opportunity. So to any institution or individual, the reputation that they are claiming can be verified. Similarly, the world of finance also is integrated here. So it's not only the credentials, but the power of the platform is that every credential claimed is digitally verifiable. Go back. Next. Typically, we find that a learner's journey involves discovery. They want to find out which courses, what career options, which providers are useful for them. They look for, once they have made up their mind, they want to register for a course. Once they register, there is a counseling required which can guide them into the right solutions. The pre-assessments of their competencies and their interests, the training, career guidance, assessment, certification, feedback after certification, employment opportunities, entrepreneurship, lifelong learning. This cycle keeps on repeating. In every individual, every individual goes through this process, and there are various service providers who are part of this. And this SIDH caters to all these milestones in the journey of a lifelong. Go next. And how does it do that? The platform is AI enabled. So what it does is that the discovery is fully personalized and contextualized. The UI UX of the platform corresponds to the individual who is interacting from the platform. So personalized discovery of courses, institutions, jobs, everything is available here. The digital job exchange does the job of smart matching of courses and course seekers and job seekers. Digitally verifiable credentials provide the convenience of trust to the seekers. And the platform, as I told you in the previous slide, that all these ecosystem providers can actually come together and create value together. Entrepreneurs, whether they are solo, nano, micro, they can either source people from here, or they can provide entrepreneurship opportunities from here. The credentials here are portable. You can move from one employer to another, and the platform allows you to keep on learning throughout your life, because it's as I told you, that the platform is customizable. The artificial intelligence based ecosystem keeps on learning about the individual themselves, and more and more people who are same persona as this individual, and keep on making lifelong recommendation. So the platform stays with you for lifelong. And the digital skilling also, as I told you, that there are not only the courses which are offline, but also digitally it can be learned. So this all these services are provided by SIDH. As I told you, that it also integrates financing ecosystem. So whether it's a government grant or private parties providing grants, bilateral, multilateral financing institutions, ESG funders, student fee providers, loan seekers, philanthropic fund providers, donations, all can be combined to create value financial resources for the platform. As I told you, that the power of the platform lies in its ability to make recommendations, and those recommendations come from the power of a digital job exchange. It has all the features of a powerful digital job exchange, and it has additional provision that typically on a job platform, it's the seekers who are looking for job, whereas this platform has been built on the concept of job seeking individuals. So the platform provides an opportunity for the resume building, the career guidance, and also for employers to do verifiable credentials. Also, the platform provides opportunity to do career fairs and job fairs. And it's not only one has to log on to the platform. There are all social media platforms which are integrated with this, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, LinkedIn. All the platforms are linked here, so employers can go on any of these platforms and they can get seamlessly integrated on this. Next, as Honorable Minister in his keynote address said, that the SIDH is built on India's stack, which has got 3 layers. One is the identity layer, so biometric identity is here. A payment layer, so the financing can be organized through this, and the entire data layer, which provides opportunity to do a good data mining for recommendation purposes. For configuration, this has been structured along registries. These registries are across employers, jobs, skilled professionals, certificate registries, every skill institute, skill provider, issuer. So every participant in the skill ecosystem resides in a registry, and that's how they become discoverable and verifiable. If we see the AI dimension, AI capabilities of the platform provides personalization. So any user, when they experience the platform understands their persona and aligns itself to the user. It also is intelligent from that perspective that it understands the context in which a personalized profile is to be rendered. It makes recommendations. There is a chat bot which can interact with the user. It has got multilingual capabilities. It has sentiment analysis which helps recommendation engine. Text to speech capabilities are here, and text summarization is also here. All these AI capabilities come from the AI tools like natural language processing, large language models, and machine learning, comprising along all the three dimensions of supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. So the entire platform is built on the core of artificial intelligence, and that's why it keeps on innovating and discovering itself as user perform their journey. While we are already advanced a lot, there are a lot of other possibilities that we are working on. The future possibilities that we will be presenting are public-private partnership, how governments and private sectors can come together. Counseling services can play a very big role, so counseling is coming up as a powerful tool here. Lifelong learning pathways, everybody should be able to get a lifelong learning pathways. We should be able to allow the opportunity for people to get mentorship and provide mentorship. The testimonials will play an important role, so the users of the platform will be able to provide testimonials. The full-fledged alumni services will be made available to the platform providers. And on assessment sides, we are bringing some very innovative solutions on AR/VR side, virtual labs, and AI proctored assessments. So the whole idea is that the assessments can play a very important role in personalization. The entrepreneurship is another area where a platform can play a very big role, and very soon it is coming out. And the internationalization is the context why we are here, that the platform has always been built with this notion that we can work with other countries also on this. These are the impact that the platform has achieved until now. These are numbers. I'll just people can eyeball, and I want to move to next slide. These are the partners who are already on SIDH. They are the best names in the learning world, and any user will have access to lots of courses from these providers. Next. It is fully ISO 27001 certified platform, so a very high level of cyber security, and there is a very advanced control room which my colleague Sheshtha will demonstrate is utilized here. Next. How we can work with other countries. The Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship along with NSDC is committed for international collaboration. We are open for provide support for research and development, building capacity, devising policy and advocacy, and build customized SIDH platform to meet the unique needs of every country. These are the barcodes which can be scanned for reaching out to SIDH team. Now I go back to Ashwini ji.
Thank you, Mr. Tiwari, for your concise and insightful presentation. As today, this session particularly is like what we promote in the skills development dual learning model, or apprenticeship, means theory as well as practical. So now I invite, so we'll have a demonstration. What Mr. Tiwari has already explained very excellent features of this platform. But now the next 15 to 20 minutes, we will go through a demonstration to show that you can visualize how those features function also. So now I invite Ms. Shrestha Gupta, who is the Chief Technical Officer for the NSDC, and who under the leadership of Mr. Tiwari has conceptualized and championed the creation of this platform. And she has also won several awards for her initiatives. Welcome, Shrestha. And now In this demonstration, we are all together, Mr. Tiwari, Shrestha, and myself. So both of them will demonstrate some of the specific features. So first of all, let me put my first question to you. The SID offers a one-stop platform for users to find courses, government schemes, apprenticeships, and job opportunities. Could you please explain and demonstrate how one platform has all these features?
Thank you so much, Ashwini ji. I have pulled Skill India Digital platform right now in front of your screens, and this is homepage. Very interesting question, because Skill India Digital, as spoken until now, is not just for skilling, but it also brings many opportunities together, and that is why there's many occasions when one can get confused that what opportunities to pick, and that is where contextualization, personalization becomes very important. I will just quickly take one use case, that how individual can drive from one feature to another with this platform. As soon as individual lands to this platform, say if somebody wants to go straight away to skill courses, uh, reaches out to various sectors. Once individual reaches here, they can actually get into to understand what sort of industries are available. If they want to understand, they have interest in particular industry, they can learn about that specifically, and they can straight away get into that industry. For today, I'm picking electronics for demonstration. Say somebody reaches to electronics and want to see what sort of courses are available. We see right now in front of us, there are many courses in electronics available. For instance, solar panel installations, field technician computing, mobile phone hardware, and then it straight away on candidate can figure out that what the content language is, how many hours this content will be delivered, what sort of ratings are available, and then they can get into the further to learn this. I'm picking one course, say mobile hardware repair technician. Say if I get into this, now when I get into this typically to this course, this application is now contextualized basis my choices. And if you notice that I've still not registered, I am still on a discovery phase right now, as Mr. Tiwari explained. It gives me a lot of information to do a decision, to take a decision. For instance, this is already taken by 845 users. It is free. It is in electronics. These are the already enrolled candidates. And then there are a lot of further information which I can pick and read, and then I can decide if I want to do it. If I take this course, will I get a certificate? Yes, I will give a participation certificate. What are the additional informations available? So those sort of informations are available. What topics will be taught? So it gives a detailed review on what sort of a learning will be available if I take this course. So say for instance, there are many modules. One of the module is giving me mobile tools and toolkit, mobile phone disassembly, etc. And then what is my eligibility criteria? So it gives that sort of information so that I can decide. If I like this course, I can straight away enroll into this. If I want to further understand, and I'm just scrolling it down to show that what's available after this. So that was course selected. Now if I'm convinced with the course, it also connects straight away to me with jobs. So you see right now that jobs with respect to electronics and the choice of course I have right now selected, I have a lot of jobs available in front of me. Say I have a fabrication factory which is in Odisha, in India, and so on and so forth. So I can decide if I want to pick a job right now. Then there are more skill courses available if I want to move to next level of learning and I want to move to next courses. Then it is also connecting me with not just with the self-paced learning, but it is connecting me right now with centers, physical centers available. So it's not just letting me learn of its own, but it is also connecting me with jobs, other courses, and also physical and training centers where I can go and I can start learning with it. So this is where the decision making, Ashwini ji, becomes easier for an individual to decide what to choose when. Over to you. And Mr. Tiwari, you also spoke about that there are a lot of contextualization and the AI utilization in the platform. Do you want to add further on this, that how contextualization especially specific works in such decision making?
Well, I would like to add just one point that as Shrestha demonstrated, that course learning is assisted in many ways. I'm sorry. As Shrestha just said, that the everything is contextualized. And, when you see a course, the course is relevant for your profile, and it also connects you what job opportunities you will get from here, and all those things she has demonstrated. One thing that I want to add here is that the government can also sponsor these courses, and the people will be able to identify that if I want to pursue these courses and I do not have financial means to pursue this, whether the government can sponsor me or not. So that way also even a government grants can be fully customized on reaching out to only the needy people rather than just spreading it thin across the demography.
Ashwini ji, over to you. Ashwin ji, you are mute. Ashwini ji, you are mute.
You're on mute, please.
Oh, sorry. So, Shrestha, I was saying, thanks for showing this, that it has the features, various courses as well as job opportunities. But can you also demonstrate if someone is looking for apprenticeship options? So, how can one locate where is the opportunities for apprenticeships are there?
Right. So, am I audible right now?
A bit less. Can you come closer to the mic?
Right. Am I audible right now?
Perfect.
So Ashwini ji, as I was mentioning that it provides various opportunities, and there's a specific job section which we have in a platform where it gives a various job opportunities with respect to sectors, industries and location. I'm just taking you to a very innovative tool which we
Okay,
have.
now just so now what I can see is that can you click on the job exchange again, please?
Sorry, yes.
Job exchange, yeah. So
Yes.
here, okay, it is very clear. So for looking into apprenticeship opportunity, one has to go onto the job exchange, and then under job exchange, there are one option is to select jobs, or another option is apprenticeship. Thank you. Please continue.
Yes, and there is another very innovative way to reach out to these opportunities, and I would quickly want to demonstrate that. We have built. Idea was that it is because it is for the youth, and we are very much equipped with day-to-day applications which we use on our mobile phones, and one is that we use maps very often. And that is where the ideation was, that how do we make scaling infrastructure also accessible as we have our daily needs accessible on maps. And that is where we just asked a question that how jobs and apprenticeships can be seen. It's very simple, one click that you go to Skill India map. Right now I have just enabled apprenticeship opportunities on screen, you see, and then I have enabled jobs along. Now, right now we see that these are the apprenticeship opportunities and job opportunities around India. And if I want to further drill down to a province level, I can go inside it. I can further drill it down to a geolocation. And right now you see on my left on the screen that these are your apprenticeship opportunities available. People can navigate to an opportunity as we navigate to any other our daily need sort of an infrastructure. So it's as simple as that.
Oh, that's fantastic. I think what I like this feature is that otherwise there are so many tabs are there. Otherwise, searching becomes more difficult. But using the map feature, you can go click to your nearby neighbor. So that means you have mapped everything: centers, skill centers, programs, apprenticeship and job opportunity on using GIS software on a map basis. So one do not need to search through various options. So one, if someone is living say in any particular city or looking for opportunities there, so then can you show just maybe, for example, since you are based in Delhi, can you click and show something in the Delhi somewhere near your office? What are the opportunities?
Absolutely. So right now I'm sitting in New Delhi, India, and I will quickly show the job opportunities or apprenticeship opportunities. Apprenticeship is on-job trainings available around me, and I will precisely go to the place where I am right now. just going one level up because we've gone to the next level. So I see that in Delhi right now, I have nearly 4,000 plus opportunities available around me here.
Yes,
So these
clear.
are
And I
some
think one
central
can click,
Delhi
and one can further click on the zoom in further
Yes,
to
I'll
search
do that.
various areas.
Yes, I
And
can
you can
further
see, I
zoom
can,
out.
yeah.
Yes, I can zoom in further and I can show further to the next level what sort of opportunities are available.
Wonderful. I think this is very good feature so that one can click and keep on seeing what are the training institutions. And I can see on
Yes,
the left hand side also very good information. It provides the name of the course, it provides the name of the institution, type, and how many vacancies are open, address, and all the details is given.
right.
Thank you. This
So
is fantastic feature.
thank you so much. Right now, I've clicked skill centers as you were mentioning that centers can also be seen. So scaling is we have, as Mr. Tiwari was presenting, we have almost 40,000 plus physical training infrastructure available. So that is also plotted here on GIS to the last level of lateral long. If I right now want to see typically say PMKY, which is our national level program scheme here, which we run in India, I can straight away go to this sort of program. We have another program which is PM Vishwakarma, again national levels program which we run here in India. And if I further click to the center, if you see, it gives me a prompt on top that this is a center which runs various programs. Sectors is tourism, beauty, healthcare, apparel, and then I can navigate to it. So that is the
Wonderful.
convenience where
Sesha,
people can.
I'm also looking at the time also.
Yes.
So because we have very limited time, so one option, can you click on the Skills University? Because this is a new concept which has in India is coming up. So let's see
Sure.
how many skills universities is there any skills university near Delhi? Can you
We
click
do
one?
that. Yes, I
And
will
just
quickly zoom out so that you can see that. Just clear the frame for you and then yeah, so right now skill universities are selected and the green dots if you see are the skill universities. Right now one we see here near NCR which is Sri Vishwakarma Skill University, and what we can see that what sort of programs are offered by.
wonderful. That's fantastic. One can see there are how many skills universities are there, what type of programs they offer. Thank you. Now I go to quickly to next question
Sure.
because time limitation. While it has so many options, particularly of course skills universities are few, but when it goes to like a TVET programs or artisan programs, there are thousands of those programs and institutions may be there. But if I start, I'm not very as familiar as you are in the system, I will get confused. That what is the best option for me? Sometimes it's very difficult to know. So
Right.
is there any system of AI technology as Mr. Tiwari was referring to that it can facilitate and give me some recommendations?
Well, the previous screens which I showed was actually running with AI, that as
Okay.
users start searching or selecting some information, it starts pulling that information, it starts building a contextualized content for that individual. But I would like to specifically answer this, which you said that again, how to make choices easier for someone is very similar to the way we do it, we do e-commerce shopping. I'll just quickly show one quick example that if I'm confused, there's so many courses, how do I really pick which course is appropriate for me? So I can very easily simply go and compare some of the courses where I wish I want to take admissions in. I can just go and use comparison tool, and here it is. It gives me a very brief decision making points that how course is performing, who is offering this course, what is enrollment rates right now going inside this, what is eligibility criteria, duration, mode, etc., etc. And then this becomes even more easier for me to decide my choice basis the decision point.
In bottom, it already gives me options, many options, which could be matching my taste, my requirements, and other thing. So
Yes.
similarly, in this platform also, the moment a user click on a particular course or something, that technology behind it, the AI understands the user's preferences and choices, and it already starts showing other options which could be suitable for a particular user. Very good. Thank you very much. Now let's go to the next one because we are very limited by the time also. You have already shown the digital mapping. So I'll go to the next question for policymakers because that's always uh, very much issue here, or the quality. For example, you have shown large number of programs are available, and now India is such a vast country. Its total population is even more than the whole of Africa. Very large skill spread. Ensuring quality. How can you ensure the quality? Because many of the programs are being funded by the government also. You are accrediting various providers who are running courses across India in very remote locations also. But then how do you know that its training is really taking place, or there are no fake trainees, which are not in India, but is a problem in many countries. There's fake enrollments are there. How you control all these things? Can you demonstrate? But in a few minutes, please. We are running out of time.
Sure, Ashwini ji. So I will be running one short video on that because we have very detailed command and control center, and I'm requesting Mr. Tiwari to please respond to it while I'm just running this video.
So the platform also provides an opportunity for a command and control center to be set up, and we are just demoing that command and control center to you. So it's fully controlled. Any authorized person only can enter. There are dashboards which tell you what sort of programs are happening where. There are CCTV cameras which tell you about, you are seeing the dashboards, you are seeing the maps that Shesha had recently demonstrated. It gives you lots of analytics. The control room gives you a real CCTV based mechanism help us to identify whether there are any quality issues or not, there. The analytical power is simply tremendous. You can run any type of query here, and you are seeing here classes, and that's how it's a fully monitored ecosystem that we have built.
Thank you very much. What I understand is that their quality assurance is multi-layer is there regarding that each participant registration is linked to the national identity Aadhaar, so that is unique, so that not a fake candidates could be there. Then you have multiple type of cameras in the centers. So from your control center in Delhi, you can immediately go to any center, switch on, because everyone is supposed to switch on their camera all the time, so that you can see that how many trainees or training is taking place. Then you have some analytical cameras also, which can do a particular analysis also, that it's not a just fake is there. Thank you very much. Just I'll go back to users, all our attendees. Please, you are putting some questions, but some of you are putting the questions in the right place, which is the Q&A tab. But some of you are putting your questions on the chat. Chat is for knowledge sharing. If you are putting any questions to us and panelists, I kindly request to add that question in the Q&A tab under the question. Then one of our colleagues, panelists, or there's a team which is working along with us, will immediately answer that question. And particularly, I acknowledge, even I just recently saw our Deputy Regional Director for Africa, Mr. Kofi Aguso. He also put a question on the chat. First of all, welcome, Kofi, that you, as a Deputy Regional Director, you are still joining as an attendee, and we are grateful to you. But please put your question on the Q&A tab. Similarly, this request goes to all the participants. Please use Q&A tab only for asking the question. Chat is for information sharing. So now I go back to the next question, which is always a very crucial one. I know we are run out of the time, but this is my last question now. Policy, every time, in any country, policy makers always look for evidence-based policy. But then the challenge is that data and the analysis of the data and evidence is not available. So it's more like becoming ultimately copying policies for what is considered as the best practice or good practices from other countries. You have now large range of courses, type of schemes, institutions. How can it help in the monitoring and evaluation and evidence-based policy making. Over to you.
Thank you, Ashwini ji. Again, very interesting question, and as it was shown in the video, that there are a lot of data dashboards and visualization, data analytics, very powerful analytics is what we work on. I'm passing on to again Mr. Tiwari to give a further detailed response to it, while I will run through some dashboards for you.
So Ashwini ji, any policy maker, every country, region has its own priorities. So if you see the dashboard here gives you a full country view in one eyeball. So here you see all the skilling that India has done in one shot. Various ministries are involved. So somebody who's at the very top can see from here and can decide what next steps to take next. Similarly, policymakers can have their objectives in terms of inclusion, in terms of affordability, and once they place their objectives, the dashboards present that picture to policymaker, that how are they performing against their policy objectives. So in this dashboard, you will see that we have a real-time picture of all the skilling activity happening in the country. If we go down, we can also suppose we had given the choices that we want to focus on certain geographies which we call aspirational districts, and these aspirational districts we can see here. You see here a query, this query box can be designed on a fly, and anybody can design that. So every policymaker can set their objectives. One can have a demography, age group, whatever objective I had for my skill policy, I can simply specify that policy. It will tell me.
I will request, Mr. Tiwari, sorry for interrupting you. I will request you to pause at this one. This is very interesting. For example, there are, of course, there are a lot of features which can be demonstrated. For what immediately caught my attention, for example, I can see on the left hand most side that what is the proportion of candidates in terms of sex. So you are showing that in this particular program or wherever it is, let's not get into the program name or something, there are more females who are joined. No, let's go to back to same one. It's okay. Let's not go up. No, let's go. It's more interesting is the same here. Leave it here. That it can show already the proportion of what is the percentage of female versus men. More female is there. Similarly, on the right hand side one is also what are the other disadvantaged groups. For example, in India, there is specifically, the constitution provides special reservation for disadvantaged groups such as SCs, scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and other backward classes. So this graph already shows what is the numbers and proportion of those people in the program. So that can also see the, and for all the users, it is not only like a just overall scheme wise. This analysis can be done in a particular for a particular center, for a particular state, a province, or nationally also, and particular program also. So the policymakers can analyze how, to what extent they are meeting the policy objective of gender inclusion or inclusion of other disadvantaged groups. So this is just one example of dashboard. And you can see actually in this dashboard, there are different dashboards are there where the policymakers can see what is the enrollment ratio, how many total capacity is there versus how many people are getting enrolled, and how many persons are dropping out, how many persons are completing the appearing the assessment and completing this one. So it is a very powerful tool for policymaker to analyze the shortcomings, challenges, and what are the good practices are there, and then they can focus their policies on addressing those challenges. Actually, this demonstration will itself take maybe complete one day. There's so many features are there, but since we are having this international webinar, we have to finish in time. I think we have to stop this further demonstration here. We are already exceeded by 7 or 8 minutes, but definitely if there's a requirement, I think we can organize this kind of a demonstration more in depth for other target groups. Please let us know, all our esteemed participants, in case you need more detailed demonstration in your countries, what you feel feature, I think together with NSDC, we can always facilitate that one. Now, I'd like to, because we all have more than 1,000 participants already on this one, plus there will be on the YouTube also. Let us then involve in one poll. So I'll request our backup team, our IT team, to show the poll. I request all attendees to participate in this poll. This is to ask in your country, looking into India now. Now you can compare in your country that to what extent is your country using digital technology in skills systems and programs. So use one choice only. So please click fast so that we go to the next stage very fast. I'll give you only 30 seconds for attendees to click on this one. You can click one of them. So can we, colleagues, can we already start seeing the results? Because I think it's possible as the participants are clicking, the screen can still show the how the trends are coming. Okay, so we are seeing that it's a mix of that quite uniform. Many countries, the participants feel they are using significantly or extensively the digital technology. But then there are certain countries which feel minimally also 12% and moderately 30%. So it clearly shows that there is a need to keep on increasing the use of digital technology in the system and program level. While I will also admit that in many countries, the use of digital technology is more happening at the program level in delivering training programs. But today we were seeing for the policy option, it's not only training delivery. Most of the options which saw today of the SIDH platform is on the systems level. So while it has also a lot of training program, we didn't go into depth of that one. Purpose was to show that how digital technology can be used optimally for improving the effectiveness and efficiency of managing and evidence-based policy making in your countries. With this one, we'll go to the next segment. Thank you very much to our IT team for showing this poll. You can close it now. So now we start with our panel discussion. And again, I will request all the attendees, you can continue to use Q&A chat box to ask questions. And I will also request you to the extent possible, if the question is focused on a particular panelist, please mention the name of the panelist also. Now, let me introduce our first panelist, Honorable Minister of Technical and Higher Education from Sierra Leone, Africa, Dr. Hajar Rahmatullahi Uhi. She brings extensive expertise from her background as a former senior lecturer and researcher at the University of Sierra Leone's College of Medicine and Allied Health Services. With a strong academic foundation, she focuses on aligning Sierra Leone's education system with national needs through evidence-based policies. Her career spans over a decade of conducting health system research, contributing pivotal evidence for governmental and donor strategy. Her impactful leadership and research have been recognized globally, including her selection as a Kofi Annan Global Health Leadership Fellow, highlighting her dedication to transformative leadership and mentorship in development arenas. Thank you very much, Dr. Rahmatullahi, for joining us. And my first question to you is that, to what extent is your country using digital technology in skill systems and programs? We'd like to know good practices from your country. Over to you.
Thank you very much, and good day, everyone. I'd first like to start off by thanking the organizers for inviting me to this very important webinar to share insights and experiences from Sierra Leone. And for the benefit of listeners, I also want to give you a brief context into Sierra Leone. So in Sierra Leone, the education space and how we have incorporated technology and digitalization. So in Sierra Leone, we have two ministries of education, the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education and the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education. And as a country, as a government, the current administration has always prioritized education, with education being the flagship program over the last 5 years, and human capital development continues to be a priority for the government. Our national development plan is centered around 5 key areas. So Feed Sierra Leone, which is agriculture, we have human capital development, we have youth employment scheme, where we have committed to providing 500,000 jobs for young people over a 5-year period. And the 4th pillar is digitalization and technology. And finally, revamping the public sector. And I'm sure we can all agree that if you look keenly at those 5 pillars, technology and digitalization is the anchor, can provide the platform coupled with human capital development. And what is also central to our national development plan is our young people. We have a very youthful population, so we're ensuring that all of our plans is to ensure that we empower our young people to be in the driving seat to push forward socioeconomic development in Sierra Leone. To go back to the question that you asked, to understand the extent to which Sierra Leone is using digital technology in skills, systems and programs, it's important to consider the broader context of digital infrastructure, the government's initiatives, and the educational reforms in the country. I'll start off with the government initiatives. So as I've mentioned before, we have digitalization and technology as a core pillar, as one of the key pillars of our national development plan. And we're working to ensure that we integrate digital tools into various sectors, including education. And as a government, we've introduced a new ministry. So this is the Ministry of Communication, Technology and Innovation. We have a Directorate of Science, Technology and Innovation, and we have the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education. And one thing that we encourage is to ensure that we work in a very collaborative manner, so that we can maximize upon the resources that we have to push forward the agenda when it comes to digitalization in skills development and lifelong learning. And we have policies at national level that will guide us. We have for example, DSTI has launched the National Innovation and Digital Strategy, which centers around reskilling and upskilling programs. So it has an emphasis on supporting reskilling and upskilling in digital and advancing science, technology, and innovation. It also has a focus on curriculum development, which aligns with the plans that we have within the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education to ensure that there's harmonization, that there's relevance in the training. So we train in a very demand-led manner, and also looking at the emerging sectors. One of the speakers earlier made mention of artificial intelligence, machine learning, prompt engineering. So these are emerging sectors, and we have to ensure that we develop curriculum to position our young people to be able to thrive within those sectors. So being very proactive. But there's also the component of soft skills as well. Yes, you can give them the technical skills, but there's also the very important soft skills, entrepreneurship, digital literacy, financial literacy, and so on and so forth. So these are the soft skills. And again, we're using the approach of working with the current labor market. What are the skills they'd like to see in the young people, and using that to develop the training that the young people will need. And also supporting them in terms of problem solving and critical thinking. We push forward partnerships as well within our academic institutions to foster that sense of global citizenship and learning from each other. And we have, as I mentioned earlier, we have a new ministry, the Ministry of Communication, Technology and Innovation. It's currently implementing a Sierra Leone Digital Transform project, which aims to expand access to broadband internet, increase digital skills, and improve the government's capacity to deliver public services digitally. So this will support development of a sustainable ecosystem where digitalization and technology can thrive. All of these are also articulated in a national development and digital development policy. And as I mentioned earlier, all of these different ministries, departments, and agencies, we work in a very collaborative manner. And all these resources that we have, we bring them together to create an enabling environment that we can build upon to promote digital learning and skills development in our young people. And one example, for example, within the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education, we integrate technology into the way we do things. So efforts are being made to see how we can further incorporate digital tools and platforms into our educational systems. This includes, for example, within our higher educational institutions, using a learning management system, which will give us data and help us in terms of efficiency, accountability, effectiveness. And as we know, data can help us it will give us insights into what are the policy directives that we'll probably need to embark upon, what are the interventions. So these interventions that we may come up with should be informed by context-specific evidence. Within the vocational training, we currently implemented a project funded by the World Bank and the government of Sierra Leone, the Skills Development Project. And within that project, one of the core outputs was developing TVET-ME, so a TVET management information system. So that will help us in terms of registration and also developing a certification system, because that was what we needed within our context. So these are all data platforms, digital platforms that we're using to help us to provide, to give us the data and see how we can further incorporate technology and digitalization into the way we do things. One of the things I mentioned earlier was the value that we have in education. And as a government, we introduced the free quality school education. And what that meant was we removed the financial barrier for young people accessing education at basic and senior secondary level. And the consequence of that, we've seen a massive increase in numbers of students enrolling for secondary and basic and senior secondary education. But then one thing that we're very mindful now is now when they graduate, when they leave secondary school and they're seeking for admissions into universities, we do not have the physical infrastructure to accommodate all of them. I'll give you an example. For the last academic year, 249,000 young people took the entrance exams into university, and 137,000 of them met the minimum requirement for university admission. But out of that number, all of the public universities and the private universities combined could not even absorb up to 30% of that figure. So that got us thinking that we need to think of distance learning. We cannot expand upon the physical infrastructure, but we can use distance learning to see how best we can accommodate our young people. So now we're putting all our efforts into developing online learning platforms. We have a policy, an open distance learning policy developed by one of our agencies, the Tertiary Education Commission, supported by the Commonwealth of Learning. And so we're working on that and partners to see how we can further build, scale that up and see how we can put measures in place to mitigate against this problem. But ultimately, to foster this digital skills training, it's not just within the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education. There should be a continuum. So we should try to foster these skills in our young people from a very young age. And within the Directorate of Science, Technology and Innovation that I mentioned earlier, they've implemented a project in partnership with UNICEF and International Telecommunications Union, the GIGA project, where they provided internet connectivity to schools and provided equipment to support this enabling environment for young people in primary and secondary school to be au fait and familiar with digital platforms. And now what we have to do within the technical and higher education space is to maintain that, build upon that. So we're putting measures in place to build upon that. How can we address the context-specific challenges that we have in terms of access to technology, in terms of connectivity, and working with our universities to see how, and our partners. So it's not just a case of getting the equipment, but also working with them to develop sustainability plans, because we do not want things to be fragmented. So that will create that continuum from primary to secondary school and technical and higher education. And we're working to see how we can learn from their insights and their experience and see how we can develop something in Sierra Leone that we can adapt to the context of Sierra Leone, to the needs of Sierra Leone at this point in time, but working in partnership with them and seeing how we can draw insights from them. So I'll stop there for now, and hopefully I'll have the opportunity to share more insights. Thank you.
Thank you. I think you provided an excellent and very comprehensive information about the innovations and the initiatives taken by your country. And I can see some of the very important ones you mentioned is your focus on innovation. science and technology, and a collaboration between innovation, science and technology, and the TVET sector and education system. And while also you are giving focus also on the soft skills also, and also while you are also covered also, which I was already thinking the next question, that my question that some of the elements of my next questions which were coming to my mind, you already covered, but I may be still asking. For example, my next question I was thinking is that what are the barriers to and enablers of benefiting from technological innovations? While you already mentioned some of those points already, that you are focusing also on building digital infrastructure, uh, 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 incentives or subsidizing, providing internet connectivity and other things. But do you have any, if you like to specifically mention some of the barriers and enablers?
Thank you very much for that. So yes, I've mentioned some of the barriers that we have in terms of infrastructure, internet connectivity, electricity access, lack of skills training, educational gaps, and also social-cultural barriers. For example, when you look at the technology space, not just in Sierra Leone, but in other parts of the world, the digital space, it's historically dominated in most LMICs by male students. So we have to see how we can address that gender inequality. But for me, these barriers also create opportunities for us to address this problem in a manner that promotes ownership, because ownership promotes sustainability. Because a lot of investment will go into building the sustainable systems to support digital skills training and lifelong learning. So we have to ensure that we protect that investment. So working in a very in a manner that promotes national ownership and leadership and national investment in partnership with like-minded partners from other parts of the world is something that we very much value. So, for example, I mentioned earlier that one barrier that we have is in terms of internet connectivity. It creates an opportunity for us to work in partnership with the public and the private sector. We have private companies who are working within that space. There's nothing stopping us from having the dialogue with them to see how they can help us to address that problem. It also creates an opportunity for us to work at interministerial departments and agency level. And I've said this repeatedly, that's something we value as a government, seeing how we can work and share the resources that we have amongst the different ministries, departments, and agencies. There's also the sense of national investment. So working with our universities, yes, we can support them in terms of setting up these structures within the inception phase. But moving forward, there should be sustainability plans, and that comes with investments from the universities. And as a government, we're working to see how we can support that. Recently, the Ministry of Communication, Technology and Innovation organized an innovation summit that invited a lot of stakeholders from all over the world within that space, and we announced during that summit the introduction of Starlink. So this is something that would help us to get affordable, so something that will be cheaper than what's currently obtained in country in terms of connectivity to the internet, because we do not want to introduce things that will further fuel the inequality divide. We're very mindful that in rural parts of the country, they have the additional challenge of accessing. So whatever the challenge that we have within the urban settings is further exacerbated in the rural area. So whatever we introduce, it has to promote equity and not fuel further inequity. And then I mentioned earlier also about the gender. So as a government, the ministry is mindful of getting more female students in these historically male-dominated spaces. So we have a granting aid scheme, which is a scholarship available in country, and we are phasing for the most part some components of that scholarship, but we're retaining a component and scale science, technology, engineering, agriculture, and maths. And I mentioned earlier about a challenge with regards to renewable, electricity, especially in the rural areas. But this creates an opportunity for us to set up centers of excellence, for example, within the TVET arm for renewable energy, getting our young people to come up with these innovative ideas to thrive within these spaces and see themselves as part of the solution to problems that we're facing. We have educational reforms. So these are the opportunities that we have in terms of curriculum development. We're currently finalizing a labor market survey that we have completed, where we've selected sectors that we've identified as growth sectors linked to our national development plan. We've engaged with these industries, both in the public and private sector, getting them to tell us what are the skills you'd like to see in our young people upon graduation. We're using that information to review the curriculum, harmonize that across the board, but it also promotes public-private partnerships. So we have these industries seeing themselves now as stakeholders within the education space. We're also using that opportunity to see how that can improve the employability of our young people. The Ministry of Communication, Technology and Innovation is setting up a technology city in one of the districts in Sierra Leone. And they're setting up a school for technology at primary and secondary school. So now we're working to ensure to provide that continuum. We set up a center of excellence for technology within the same district, within that same vicinity, that would provide training for technology and digitalization within that space. So these are some of the barriers that we have, but they also create opportunities for us to do better and see how we can really push for this agenda. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for being with us and reflecting on your vision and initiatives for Sierra Leone. What I'll do regarding the SIDH, how this platform can be further used and cooperation between the countries. I think I'll come at the end of the panel discussion because it's a cross-cutting issue, so that every panelist can refer their particular views on that one. With this one, now I'll introduce our next panel. Please be with us because we'll come back to you again. Now I introduce our next panelist, Honorable Deputy Minister of Labor and Social Affairs of the Republic of Armenia, Mr. Ruben Sargsyan. He has been instrumental in promoting democracy, electoral reforms, civil society, trade union activities, and protecting human and labor rights. He chaired the Prison Monitoring Group Armenia and founded the Advanced Public Research Group NGO in 2002. A graduate of Russian-American Slovenic State University, he has conducted more than 80 research projects, authored over 60 articles and studies, and teaches at the Public Administration Academy of the Republic of Armenia. He has also worked at several international organizations. It is our honor to have you with us, sir. Welcome to you to this panel. So similarly, I will request you a few questions. First of all, question is about your country in the space of digital use of digital technology, lifelong learning, how it is using. So specific question is that how is Armenia advancing workforce development in response to the digital evolution of science, skills and lifelong learning ecosystem? Over to you, sir.
Thank you for the introduction. Honorable colleagues, first of all, thank you for organizing such important event. I think it was impressive presentation of India experiences, certainly. And today, I think it's an important opportunity to share experience different countries. Sierra Leone colleagues produced their experiences were very interesting. And indeed, the topics of today's discussion is major challenge for all countries, certainly. And as Honorable Minister mentioned, Armenia has huge experience in effective implementation of the tech education. But currently, the government is discussing the new employment strategy for advancing workforce development. And the strategy pays great attention to the education issue, especially on developing effective mechanisms for both labor market supply and demand. But also we link education with labor market. I think the main adage for everyone to how to do that. The strategy has not improved yet, but now we're implementing some other projects on this issue. And Parallelly, we develop IT Samaito solutions as an e-work or education for all tools, which has quite similar components that was presented by Skill India colleagues. And that's why it's very interesting to understanding which way direct we should develop that tools, and we just discussions about that. And now we are in the process of developing a digital solution that will involve beneficiaries, government, private sector, education facilities that will allow implement result-based financing of education via digital vouchers. Aim of which is the job placement. Because for us, any type of coins will be expensive on education as must have result as a job placement. Because main targeted, because we're talking about workforce, certainly. And one of the major strategic goals is massive development of soft skills and digital and financial literacy of the target groups. In our strategy, employment strategy, we have 4 target groups: need, certainly, women age 30-40, citizens of regional countries, towns, and social benefits receivers. In this context, the experience sharing and adaptation of such courses as a Coursera on the state level is very much interesting for us, as well as Skill India experience is interesting for us too. That if I want to shortly answer on your question, what we are doing in that way. Sorry, sir.
So, yes, what I'm saying is that I think you are explaining very important points. You're not looking at the training side. You are looking also the results of the training in terms of job placements, very important. And you are looking at results-based financing through voucher system, which is very crucial. Also, I think it will be a good learning for the other countries, because many countries are looking in the experience in this one. Then there, of course, it is innovative way. Of course, it has some challenges in implementation. Like Sierra Leone, you also highlighted the importance of core skills or soft skills also. Even though we are working for the digital transformation, you are working on the strategy for workforce development also, and you are looking for multiple partners options in terms of the development of digital portals and sub learning management systems of courses, for example, Coursera or the SIDH also. So now, I think that we have seen the Honorable Minister from Sierra Leone mention many of the barriers and enablers for benefiting from the technological innovations. So from your perspective, your country, what type of, are they similar, or do you have some different barriers or no barriers to using digital technology, or what are your main enablers? Over to you.
Thanks. Certainly, unfortunately, without barriers, couldn't move forward, and life without barriers is not interesting, I think. But I think for our country, the major barriers is time. Time, because the processing is going too much fast. And certainly, not only time, certainly capacity of staffs, of personnel who providing such services. That's why we have, in our strategy, we have goal 5, if I don't mistaken, which totally addressing is that issue, capacity building with the government. We see that as a major goal for employment policy making is towards effective digital mechanisms that affect both sides. Certainly, as I repeat, I don't think I'm repeating, supplies and demand. And including that main barriers, certainly only 2 things for our country: time and capacity. Certainly, no one can buy the time trying to move forward and to look faster to reaching our goals. Thanks, sir.
This is a very important point we are mentioning again and again. I think while from the previous presentation, we saw the importance of collaboration between Education Training Ministry with the Science, Technology, Innovation Ministry, IT Ministry, but you are also bringing another big important element of collaboration between education and employment ministries also, because ultimate aim of TVET is putting people in the decent work, decent employment. So if we are not looking at the demand side, what is the demand? If we keep on training people also, then the result will also be not very good. Thank you very much for mentioning these points and highlighting this one, your interest. For the, I will come back to you on the last question when we'll have a common panel final question, that how they see in terms of potential collaboration between various countries in developing and adopting various platforms. Thank you very much for and please stay with us. So now with this one, I'll go to our next panelist, Shri Atul Kumar Tiwari ji, Secretary of the Ministry of Skills Development Entrepreneurship. And under his leadership, India is undergoing a monumental transformation and expansion in the skills and lifelong learning ecosystem. And this innovation is spearheaded by an industry-led approach that fully leverages technology and establishes connection with global labor markets. And it is a very exciting time for India as these advancements are unfolding and setting up new benchmarks. So now welcome to you, Mr. Tiwari, again. We had a chance of listening to your keynote address during last masterclass, but this time, for one of the very important thing which India has done, which many countries aim but are struggling, is coherence, convergence, because different ministries have different programs within a ministry, different departments have different programs, and also in terms of now digital technology, everyone has their own maybe platforms, their way of working. Now, somehow India has converged, achieved a big convergence through this Skills India Digital Hub, where they have brought together various platforms of various departments, not only within ministry, but provincial governments. Everyone is more or less, converged together. So my question to you is that for me is particularly like a, how you say this one, it says something miracle. Wherever I go, countries ask, how can we do this one? How we can break the silos? So I like to hear your experiences on this one. What were the success factors? How you did this one? Over to you.
Thank you, Ashwini ji, and our fellow panelists, ladies and gentlemen. It's very difficult to bring silos, but it's very easy to give a solution which everybody can adopt. And it is in this context that the SIDH portal, which Ministry has developed with the assistance of NSDC, is a single window platform for all skilling opportunities. And by all mean that whether it is a skill enhancement, offering industry relevant skill courses, job opportunities, entrepreneurship support, all that is being provided through this. The fact that it is being adopted by almost 22 central government ministries with around 34 schemes and 95 schemes of 23 states and urban union territories government are onboarded. We have many industries, private players that are also being onboarded on SIDH. And now the situation has come that if any course or anything is onboarded in SIDH, it also leads to its adoptions in a great larger numbers. It's kind of a legitimacy also. This has been possible for two reasons. One is that has been explained by my colleagues in NSDC, that it has been built on the foundation of India Stack, and it integrates with services like UPI for the payment, Aadhaar for verifying identities. It uses blockchain issue certificates and digital badges. It is a very secure infrastructure with accessible payments, blockchain powered credentials. All this make SIDH as has been mentioned as SIDH as the proficient one, digital public infrastructure for skill. Now you asked me how it was done. So ultimately, you know that all of us like to work in our own comfort zones. So now that there are two things which have happened here is that that skilling is becoming inherent in all the government activities, whatever sector which we talk of. And there has been insistence, or rather nudge from the top, right, Honorable Prime Minister himself, that whichever department does whatever schemes, the skilling has to be a very crucial element of that delivery system. So the need is coming from that side. The platform is making things easier for them. But even then, it was not easy. I would say that bringing and convincing the departments, bringing all the stakeholders together, it's a work in progress, and we would see, we are working with the change management also, whether it requires some amount of physical workshops or webinars. Our SIDH teams regularly, every day, they are on some webinar or some delegation from other ministries, or the states keep on coming. In fact, we are encouraging many departments to come and stay with us for some time. The state governments have sent their employees in droves, and our seminar room in our building is always, our NSDC office is always full with number of people who come with a lot of queries. One other good thing which has happened, Ashwani ji, is that all this interaction has also helped us improve our user interface so that it is more easily accessible. And there are creases here and there, and certainly it requires a continuous improvement. But as number of people or departments or industries increases, the people who use the SIDH for various purposes, as I have outlined, it will also help us to grow further and get things better. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tiwari, for reflecting on insights, what it made possible. I'll not, because your your answer is very clearly articulated very well. I'll not go into repeating what you already mentioned. And due to time constraint now, I will just move to the next panelist, and I will come back to common question of cooperation and supporting other countries on SIDH platform at the end of the panel as a common question. Now I introduce our next panelist, Ms. Debjani Ghosh, who is the president of NESCOM, and also most credible that she is the first woman to hold this position in the organization's history. With a strong belief in technology's potential to improve lives, she advocates for responsible AI adoption and inclusive growth in India. Thank you very much for joining us. I know that we are running out of time and coming at the fag end. You have been there since beginning, and in a lot of preparations you have done together with us. The most important question I'd go to you first is that NESCOM is focused on innovation and skills development. Now you have seen already what we are discussing from India, Sierra Leone, Armenia also, but you are representing the private sector, and that to the biggest association of that one. What is futuristics? How do you visualize the use of technology, especially AI, in the skills development and lifelong learning in the future? Let us hear the future vision from the industry leaders. Over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Agarwal, and tough question, but I will attempt and I will keep it very short. When I think about AI, I think there are two things that really stand out for me personally in terms of what it can do. One is the availability or access to intelligence at your fingertips. And intelligence is, I mean, the kind of intelligence that we have it can be very, very deep with respect to sectors, domains. So it's really access to expertise at your tips. And the second part that really appeals to me is the ability to use this technology to drive customization and personalization. Now, if you marry the two and you apply that to skill development, to lifelong learning, what I think we are going to enter is an era where all of us should have access to virtual AI assistants, agents, mentors who are the experts. And I'll give you an example. I love to code. Not very good at it, but I absolutely love to code. When I write code, especially recently, I've started paying a lot of attention to, am I writing codes that truly do not have any bias in it, or that are reflecting my bias? Because human beings all have biases ingrained. It's unconscious, but it is very much there. Each of us have it. Now, it is very difficult for me while I am working on my codes to figure out, am I being careful enough? Am I passing on some of my biases to the codes? But imagine a virtual AI agent which has been trained in this particular area and which can work with me as I'm writing codes to check whether the codes are biased or not and give me a red flag, or whether it's security protocol, whatever have you, right? So this is the kind of era we are entering into, where each of us should have, and I say should because unless we act towards it, only a few will have and most will not. And we have to ensure we do not get there. Each of us should have access to personalized AI expertise, which will not only be able to give us access to information, but will also personalize it based on our needs. Now, NSDC CEO Veji talked about SID, and it's an amazing platform. And it's an amazing platform which has really brought skills together in India, the skilling ecosystem together in India. Imagine the next step, even though they've already integrated AI to a large extent, but imagine the next stage where they are able to use the data to create models that will build personalized AI mentors on the platform. So as a learner comes in, you provide information that you want to share. And based on that, your virtual mentor will be able to tell you exactly what kind of opportunities are out there. Based on your current skill sets, what are the gaps? Therefore, what courses should you be going for? Taking you to the virtual labs to practice some of these skills, preparing you for the job interviews. It's a complete end-to-end virtual mentor that can be created. And one size will never fit all. It will be that personalization, which is the biggest advantage that artificial intelligence brings in. The third piece is assessment. I think the use of artificial intelligence in assessment is so needed, and we have to figure out how to ensure that we integrate it into skills assessment to ensure fair assessment, again, assessment without bias. It's going to be tremendously important. Content creation is another area. Today, content creation is the domain of human beings. I think humans will still play a role, but using artificial intelligence to personalize content creation, personalize testing. Again, I go back to SID. As a candidate goes through a particular curriculum, say they find the curriculum very easy, and their virtual mentor is able to understand that and is able to give them harder examples to play with. May not do it for everyone, but it'll be personalized based on your own learning abilities, right? So I think there's so much of possibility with respect to how we can use artificial intelligence to provide expertise to every single human being out there, and also personalize education for every single human being out there, because all of us are learners, no matter where we are in our life journey. But I think the biggest challenge we have to sit down and debate is, how do we ensure this access is truly inclusive? What steps do we have to take from a policy perspective, from an industry perspective, in terms of how we develop these solutions? What steps do we have to take to make it inclusive? That, to me, is the bigger debate and the bigger challenge that we have to address. And I'll pause here. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. I think you've given very fantastic ideas of the future in terms of virtual mentor. I like the term. You're saying end to end, start from the beginning to the end. I think these are some of the things, and of course, you have mentioned all the areas where technology can play a critical role. Thank you very much. I think we'll go to the other parts later on if time permits. With this one, I'll go to our last panelist, and she's waiting for us since a long time now. Ms. Samnam Sheena. She's the lead educational specialist of the World Bank based in India. She's very top level experts, having provided expert services in Asia, Africa, many parts of the world. She's very enthusiastic and promoting lifelong learning and digital technologies. I will not go into details because time constraint. Excuse me for that one, Ms. Sina. But I'll ask this question because this SIDH was first. I would like to compliment you and the World Bank for deciding to support the development of this SIDH platform in India. But now my question primarily is to use that, as you can see, as we're going to wrap up, more and more demands are going to come up, not only from the countries who are present here, but there are many other countries who like to get this kind of a support. Of course, there will be elements in terms of technical support, but the financial support is also very important. So my question specifically to you is that, can the World Bank's ongoing or new projects provide financial support to various countries interested in adopting this SIDH platform or developing something similar to that one? Over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Agarwal. And I would like to place on record my appreciation of the honorable ministers of Sierra Leone and Armenia, Mr. Atul Tiwari, Secretary, Ms. Debjani Ghosh, my co-panelists. Yeah, thank you very much. The World Bank is very proud to have been associated with the Skill India Digital, which when we started our initiative, which was in around 2017, frankly, there was very little in the name of a digital platform for this kind of a monitoring and evaluation. And since the new skills policy had been brought in there by the Honorable Prime Minister, the ministry was a new ministry, and our project, which is Sankalp Skill India Mission Operation, was very new. We were just putting things together. We recognized that while we had been providing support to long-term training, we didn't have enough wherewithal in terms of the short-term training programs for the informal sector. And there was a lot of stock and flow, especially in this sector, and there wasn't sufficient tracking of what was going on. So it was important that we created an institutional framework, a mechanism whereby the ministry could be supported to become a convergent ministry. What even the secretary talked about, we were even at that time looking at convergence, because there were about 23 ministries, each one of them working on skilling. So it was a very discrete kind of an atmosphere. So in order to ensure that the leadership and the centrality of the ministry could be established, we tried to bring about a monitoring and evaluation platform, which was called a Skill India platform. And you've seen that there has been incremental growth from the SIP, it became an SID, and now it is the SIDH, which has got an amazing amount of surround content. It is almost like an Amazon of digital content. And you had a look at the demonstration. Now, on behalf of the World Bank, I would like to say that yes, as World Bank, we are present globally, and we are also present in several states besides at the federal level in India. So, our programs are tried out successfully, they are scaled, and they are generally scalable. In November 2023, we had done an India-Africa summit where other countries from East Asia had also participated, where we had actually had an opportunity of presenting the SIDH platform. And there's a lot of interest from Africa. Now, Africa is one of our biggest, counterparts, where our loan support is massive. And there is a lot of interest coming from Africa region, from our colleagues who wish to take forward, the different initiatives of the Ministry of Skills Development and Entrepreneurship. And as you know, our projects are generally financed in such a way that we can create mechanisms to ensure that there are financial support to initiative, and especially this is going to be the very backbone and the framework against which the whole platform will be built globally. At the state level, yes, what we've done is the Skill India Digital of the Ministry of Skills will be replicated now in our Maharashtra project, which is called the Daksh Maharashtra project, where we are going to be bringing another platform. There are platforms now, given the concurrent nature of this, subject, every state has its platform. But it was very important to link these with the national level so that, all data could be consolidated at one point. And what we did was, through our disbursement linked indicators and results-based financing, we loaded funds on incentivizing states and national schemes to actually build into the Skill India Digital and provide their data in here. So yeah, to answer your question in short, we would. Apologies. We are already scaling it up, and I would like to share that we have the Vidya Samiksha Kendra, which we supported in Gujarat, which is the Control and Command Center for Education. And through our national project, which is STARS, we've now scaled it to 6 states, and the government is now scaling it across the country. So yeah, the scalability and the financial support to it is what the World Bank brings, and we would certainly be very happy to be further associated with this initiative.
Thank you very much, Shabnam. Now I'll go back to Secretary here, Mr. Tiwari. We have seen, SIDH platform is becoming popular and is being found very useful. One of the question definitely will be asked is that how can the government of India and along with the development partners like ILO and others assist other countries in adopting SIDH platform in their countries? Over to you, Mr. Tiwari, please. We don't hear. Can you just check, Mr. Tiwari? We can't hear from you.
Yeah, Ashwini ji.
Yes, please.
Certainly, we'll be very happy to help other countries to have something like SIDH or similar portal, but there are certain enabling factors which are required before a country takes it up. I'll just cite some of them which are available in India which would make it possible. One is that we should have a robust digital infrastructure, as simple as having the internet connections and all the hardware and software for making things happen. B, it also requires a very comprehensive skill framework. We have our skill policy 2015. We are revising it, and within 3-4 months, we'll bring out a revised skill policy itself. Then third thing is also that there has to be a collaboration between the government and other stakeholders. We have industries, we have sector skill councils, industry associations, we have private training partners. The whole stakeholders need also to come and link it up. And whatever we do, there has to be a very user-friendly, as I mentioned earlier. And while at the same time, the data security and these things also became very, very important. We have a data security law in India coming up. And finally, it requires a continuous improvement and innovation. So if these factors are available in varying degree, then having something like this portal will be useful. And it will be able to connect with all the stakeholders or different facets of the skilling. And that will make it more useful, and therefore the more and more people will adopt it. In Government of India, we through the ministry and certainly through the MEA, and of course we have a partnership with ILO and others, World Bank and all that. We can offer some amount of technical expertise in developing the platform. We are certainly open for capacity building of their technical team. We can share our best practices and any other things which you have a mutually agreed terms and conditions. We can also organize workshops and webinars. And last time Mrs. Sinha had brought many countries, and Honorable Minister from Sierra Leone was also here. And we had brought many countries of Africa together, and we had the honor and fortune to have them come to our Kaushal Bhavan, and we could explain them personally, individually in person, what all that Skill India Digital is doing, how we are having the command center and all that. So we would love to have make skill as how SIDH kind of a skill-based exchange between the countries, and particularly if it also aligns well with the countries' engagement with the countries in Africa. For our Honorable Prime Minister in the G20 also said about the bringing the South together. So we have to see in that context itself, and whatever we have done, if it is useful, it is good, then certainly all, I would say, to the extent of being immodest, I would say all humanity should take advantage of this, and we were more than willing to do it and engage ourselves, provided we also get a very clear engagement terms, and we will like to work together. So ultimately, we should build there has to be a skill alliance between the countries, because the way the demography is changing all over the world, and we have the African countries, and certainly India are the younger generations, and the rest of the countries are getting older. There has to be, and there would be, something of this sort where the demand and supply situation will be met, and it will not be just a random migration, but I would assume it will all be skill-based migration sooner or later, and we'll see a greater exchange of skills throughout the globe. And if the Skill India Digital Hub, and through that, if you're able to help the many countries, they can have a common currency of skill, then certainly it will be good for all of us on this our good planet Earth. Thank you.
Thank you very much for highlighting, I think, very clearly 6 enabling factors, also main factors, and also what the Ministry and the Government of India can do, and how it will facilitate with other development partners. With this, I'll go back to our 2 honorable ministers. First, let me go back to Honorable State Minister from the Armenia. Sir, you have listened to various stakeholders and even the development agencies and India also that they are ready to support also. But I think it's very important that we know that all the countries have their own strengths also already. They are it's not that they are starting from the scratch. So what you see to further strengthen the digital use of digital technology in your system, what would be your suggestion? But I'm also requesting you consider as a representative of countries in your region that how can this be further enhanced in this kind of a portal, or systems can be enhanced. And for that, what could be the supports the country may be needing on that one? Over to you, sir.
Thank you for the question. First of all, certainly, first support is, I think, the information which colleagues sharing, their experiences, and certainly interesting not only the tools and methodologies of education, but certainly that monitoring tools. It was very, very interesting and impressive, the developed tools. For more deeply understanding which type of support and how can be useful Skill India developed tools, I think we will need more additional meetings and discussions and more technical questions between our specialists. In our strategy of employment, we have 4 government bodies responsible for employment strategy. One of them, Minister of Education, certainly. Second one, Minister of Economy, and third one, our ministry, Minister of Labor and Social Affairs, and third one is Ministry of Territorial Development. That's why I think it will be interesting to share this information with my colleagues and to discuss more how we can use your experience and or how to make adaptation for our needs. So anyway, before this meeting, before this discussion, we have a lot of meetings and discussions, the main question that we discussed today. And one, before this meeting and sharing this information, we think about look through your experiences, Skill India experiences. And so I think it will be great if our colleagues from Skill India find time and share more additional information about these tools, because we have a good experiences cooperation with Skill India, not only about these tools and certainly about migration and etc. And the time we can answer what we need more. We have, as I mentioned we're talking about main barriers. Main barriers is time to do as fast as we can. So,
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Now I'll request the Honorable Minister from Sierra Leone. The question is same to you. I will request you to add any other additional point than Honorable Minister from the Armenia has mentioned. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. So as I mentioned earlier, we were able to I was able to participate in an exchange visit where we were able to see firsthand what the National Skills Development Corporation in India has to offer. And from then on, we've been having dialogues virtually, and we're at the point where we're developing an MOU to see how we can use their insights and experience to develop a skills learning platform in Sierra Leone. And we have a number of resources that we have available that can inform that to help us adapt it to our context. I mentioned briefly about the labor market survey that we have done in Sierra Leone. So this will give us the skills gap that we need. And the way we see it, it's more or less, we're not reinventing the wheel. So as I mentioned, we want to learn from the experience of India. And we're also tapping into the experience of the African Union because they have a similar platform as well. So it's developing a platform where students can log in and they're able to access generic courses, which is relevant for everybody and help them in terms of their skills development. So this will be communication skills, financial literacy, digital literacy, entrepreneurship. And I keep bringing up entrepreneurship because, as I mentioned in my opening, when I was responding to the first question, we have committed as a government to create jobs for our young people, but we know that we cannot do that on our own. So we're going to work to see how we can foster this business acumen in our young people and empower them to become employers and potential employees of their peers and see how they can work together in developing startups. So once we've done that, using the output, so once you've done the generic training, so going back to the skills learning platform, once you've done the generic training, the labor market survey that I mentioned that we're completing, supported by the World Bank, would be the skills that we've gathered from that will be disaggregated by sector. And then using that, we will develop content for those skills per sector. And as a young person, you can then click on the drop-down menu and do the skills training. I know that there's going to be a lot more that we need to do to build upon that. But ultimately, this is something we want to fully institutionalize within our higher educational institutions, within our TVET sectors, and see how we can push for this digital skills training, but also lifelong learning. And it can also create a continuum. I mentioned earlier that we have partners working in setting up this enabling environment for skills and digital learning from primary to secondary school. We can expand this platform to capture that as well, but not just for pre-service training, but also in-service training. So using the data that we have derived to see how we can work with employers and get them to enroll their employees to access this training online. The functionality is endless, but ultimately it will be something that we need in our context. And we're looking to exploring how we can work with other partners that can help us in achieving this objective, looking to have the World Bank and potentially support us in making this a living MOU. So we're going to be signing an MOU in the very near future with the National Skills Development Corporation in India. But we want this to be a living MOU. We want it to be something that can be fully operationalized, something that will be sustainable and will help support in terms of digital skills training for our young people to acquire the skills that they need for the current job market, for the emerging job market, so they can compete with their peers on the global scale and see themselves as agents of change within the space of national development in Sierra Leone.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I think thank you to all the panelists for this enlightening discussion. It has been truly a privilege to have you, all of us, join us. And we are now approaching the end of the session, but it is my honor to call upon Dr. Borhen Chakron, Director of Policies and Lifelong Learning Systems in UNESCO, for the most challenging task of delivering the closing remarks. Let me just briefly mention about he's a very well-known figure all over the world. He serves as the director of UNESCO with a distinguished career dedicated to education. He leads UNESCO's efforts in shaping policies and systems for lifelong learning globally. His expertise spans areas such as education policy, skills development, and the integration of technology in education. He has played a crucial role in advancing UNESCO's agenda of lifelong learning, advocating for inclusive and equitable education opportunity worldwide. I think I personally know him since many, many years. There are a lot of things I can say about him, and but he's a very renowned figure and acknowledged experts globally. And he also leads the interagency group on Tibet also. So thank you, Dr. Borhen, for joining us. It is a privilege always to have with us. The floor is yours for the closing remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Ashwani, and very good afternoon, maybe good evening already for some colleagues, or good morning for colleagues who are joining. I know you have a very large audience, so I imagine it's covering all the time zones. I would like also to extend my greetings to honorable ministers who joined this meeting, and I've been listening very carefully to their intervention and perspective, and I really appreciate that. Let me thank you, Dr. Ashwani, and ILO for inviting UNESCO to this closing part of the masterclass, and congratulate you for a very successful masterclass. I've listened to the discussion, and I think it's really timely and very needed. I would like also to highlight our collaboration together with the ILO and the World Bank on our global report on building better formal TVET system principles and the practices in low and middle income countries, where we have looked at what can drive better reforms in technical and vocational education and training, how to make TVET a path for excellence and success. And we showed also that countries can beat the odds and can do better and leapfrog. And we have listened to Sierra Leone, Armenia, of course, India has been showing the direction for reform, the NSDC with its work on skills development, on funding at scale. Skills development is a very good example. But the focus of the masterclass and the discussion today is about the digital transformation, digital skills, and including AI. And I think it's very important. And I would like to focus on 5 areas that I feel are important. The first one is I think we have to acknowledge and recognize that the digital transformation is a double-edged sword. First, it's bringing a potential for new learning pathways, flexible learning pathways, as was mentioned by some of the colleagues earlier, adjusting to the needs of different learners, style of learning and context. And I think that's very important. And obviously, we'll see new jobs that are created, new opportunities that are coming. But there is another side of the digital transformation that we need to be also aware about it. We know that there are challenges related to data privacy and security, ethical use of AI, for example, and we have a recommendation on ethics in AI. So, but it's also about jobs changes, jobs destruction, and eventually people who may lose their jobs because of the digitalization. And that calls for an adoption of the digital transformation on our terms, terms that will protect individuals. We spoke about equity and inclusion, that protect the most disadvantages, that will fill the digital divides within and across societies. So it's very important that we acknowledge that the digital transformation, including AI, is a double-edged sword, and that we need to maximize the potential and the benefit, and reduce those risks and minimize the impact on individuals, economies, and societies more broadly. The second aspect that I think is important, and I would like to refer to the Honorable Minister from Sierra Leone, referring to entrepreneurship. The economic fabrics across countries are not similar. In many economies, particularly some of the economies we are speaking about today, the informal economy remain very important. The formal economy is very small. The type of enterprises are different, and of course, the global value chain of production and industrial development is impacting the way AI will be mainstreamed in the economy, in jobs, and in labor market. So we need to acknowledge that while, of course, we need to look at the demand side and we need to take into account the demand side, but the demand side is not uniform and will depend on the economic fabric. And probably because of the type of economic fabric, we need to emphasize also the capacity for entrepreneurship that can create jobs and that can create growth. And this is something that we'll need to look at. But obviously, it's about how this demand for skills is expressed and is conveyed. And labor force surveys, labor market analysis are one important instrument. But we know today that asking the enterprises who have difficulty to see what is the demand for skills tomorrow, asking them about that, what is their needs for skills, might be misleading. So part of the work that should be done is about anticipation, is about foresight analysis, is about much more than just surveying companies in the local labor market. But the demand side is very important in this case, but it's about also research, it's about universities collaboration, it's about networking, and it's about multilateral cooperation. I will come back to that because I think this is very important and I would like to finish with that. The third aspect is about the skills development and how we respond to the skills demand based on those transformations. And I think we need to take into account some important aspects. One is the lifelong learning dimension. And I think the ministers mentioned that we need to focus on pre-service, and that's for youth skill development, also in service. Eventually, when we looked at AI courses, there is much of AI courses that are happening in academic, but around 30% of the courses are non-academic programs that are offered by tech industry, programs that are offered in different forms and different ways, micro-credentialing. So take into account I would say the ecosystem of learning pathways, and thinking about the lifelong learning perspective is very important, and that's what we are trying to do together with you, Dr. Ashwani, with the work we have been doing, for example, on lifelong learning entitlements and program that can meet the demand for skills for different levels. But take into account this diversity of learning spaces, hybrid, online, and different modalities of learning and different modalities of certification. But then I think what leads to the fourth point that I wanted to mention is that, and again, it was mentioned by the honorable ministers, the digital transformation and emphasis on digital skills cannot be put outside of the skills development reform and strategy, the TVET policies and programs. It's part of that strategy, and it has to be aligned with it. And that will mean take into account how the governance of the TVET system is evolving, how the funding, for example, and do we have a training fund? Do we have a funding for the skills development, the regulatory framework, the certifications, and other aspects that are very important. So I think placing the discussion within the broader agenda is very important. And I wanted to mention a framework that we have developed. We call it Digital Transformation Collaborative, where we focus on different aspects that we felt are important: governance, content, curriculum and certifications, capacities, including teacher training, connectivity and infrastructure, and costing and financing for the digital transformation. So we need to take different dimensions of the digital transformation and place them in the broader agenda and have the data at the center of it, because there is no AI without data. And there is a major challenge when we take this perspective, because the data centers, the data collection, the languages of the data are not everywhere. They are in different parts of the world economy. And that's why, and I finish with this point, that's why it's important that the Secretary General, as part of the Summit of the Future of UN, called for a digital compact. And the digital compact is about bridging the digital divide within societies, but also across economies and societies. And I think, and it's very interesting, the initiative that we are having and the reference, the collaboration between Sierra Leone, Armenia, India. We need this multilateral cooperation and solidarity so that we are able to bridge the digital divide, that we are able to ensure that countries will not further lag behind, and that the ones who have will have more, and the ones who don't have will have less. I think this is very important. It's about equity and inclusion, but it's about the international cooperation and solidarity and multilateralism, as I think ILO, UNESCO, and UN are promoting. So there is an opportunity this year, the Summit of the Future and the Digital Compact, for us to advance this agenda, and having champion countries like Sierra Leone, Armenia, India, who will show the road how the multilateral cooperation can happen also on a South-South basis, is something that we are behind and we would like to support. Thank you very much, Dr. Ashwani, and thanks to all colleagues. And I'm honored to be with you today for this closing, and all the best for future series, and UNESCO will be with you on all these initiatives. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bohran Shakram. It's always a pleasure listening to you. I think you have taken your time coming, sitting till the last, and giving very useful thoughts from your whole experience, spanning years and worldwide also. We are very thankful. And again, I'd like to thank you very much to all our honorable ministers, speakers, panelists, and attendees, all the most, who have, today is the longest one, but I think can see till the last, we are still listening to the very good voices from the best of experts. It's very, very enlightening to all of us. And I'd like to specifically thank to all the colleagues from ILO and the NSDC who did all this background, who are sitting in the background, excellent preparatory work, and organized successfully this forum. And I'm seeing from the Q&A tab, you can see, just if you click on that one, 335 questions have been asked. While we may see that we are not answering to participants' question now, but we are prepared for this one. We have a lot of experts who are sitting there, working background, and 335 questions have been asked, out of which 329 have been already answered. Open questions are only remaining, 6 or 7 questions are remaining. It's amazing. I've never seen in a webinar that so many questions are answered on that spot itself. And so I'd like to specifically thank all the ILO partners, NSDC, the Ministry of Skills Development and Entrepreneurship, UNESCO, and the World Bank, and also for our esteemed panelists from the specifically honorable ministers from Armenia, Sierra Leone, and NESCOM president, particularly joining, and also to the Minister of Skills Development and Entrepreneurship from India for the keynote address. So I trust, as Dr. Bohran has mentioned, this event was valuable and informative to all of you. Please remember that the recording of this webinar and all the presentations will be available on our website. We will send you all the participants who joined and who could not also join the link to the website so that you can download and get information. As Dr. Shakran said, we always take your feedback. So immediately once this is closed, a feedback form will come to you. You can fill up give your ratings. And also we keep on listening. What are the topics which you want to discuss, want us to take up in the future? We'll come back soon with the next, we already have next topic, which is on the attractiveness of TVET, but we'll come up with more topics soon and give a complete timetable to all of you. With this one, I'd like to say thank you to all of you very much for joining in this one and be with us. Even we have slightly got delayed this time, but I think it was very useful. Thank you very much to all of you.